how do I go from this
to this, boobs included.
Hello everyone and welcome to my updated makeup tutorial. But this is not just any makeup tutorial, it's the most mansplained tutorial you'll see in your life. So I'll show you exactly what I do, how I do it and why I do it. It's the most important. The why. First of all, we put on the wig cap, obviously, and just for the sake of the tutorial, because you sometimes see me having blue eyes, I'll go get my blue lenses and be right back. Alright, now that we have blue eyes, it's time to start with the makeup. I'll start with the eyes for a very simple reason. When you do the eye makeup, you tend to do weird movements that will ruin your base, such as... So that is why firstly I will do the eye and then I will apply the base, so basically I don't completely destroy the base before I even start. Many things changed, but one thing doesn't change, the white eyeshadow on the corner. Now that we are done with the white eyeshadow, it's time to proceed to the darker one. This is the palette that I'm using, it's a NYX one. I'm gonna be picking a fairly light color, this one right here, and start applying it around the eye. Same thing for the other eye. Next, you take a color a little bit darker of the previous one, I'll choose this one right here, and you will apply it to the corner of the eye, around here. And you will work your way around it. A little bit towards the upside, a little bit towards the inner eye. Something like this. Then once again I'll take the exact same color and apply it underneath the eye. So that's why I'm pulling it. So, as you can see, we're having some progress. Now I'll take a much brighter color, such as this gold one right here, and apply it up here, where I also blend it with the red one. And I work my way towards the inner eye, I don't know how else to explain it, to kinda make it mix with the white one. And then it's all a matter of blending, so you can just keep doing this until everything blends together nicely. Alright, now we're done with the shadows. Now, you need to remember one very important thing. Where is light color, that means it makes that part of your face look bigger. And when it's dark, it makes it look smaller. You will need that for later, trust me. So, for this reason, I'm gonna take a white pencil and I'll apply it underneath my whole eye to make the eyes look bigger. All the way from the corner to the other corner. Something like this. Now it's a very requested part. The eyeliner. Again, I use a NYX eyeliner, don't ask me why, it just works so I kept buying that. But for this one I have a very specific technique. I'll go to the corner of the eye, I hope you can see it. Instead of following the eye as many people say, I do something completely different. I go up. You'll see why in a minute. After that is done, I'll start dragging a line from the middle of my eye. I hope you can see it though, I'm not really sure, but... Now that we've done these two lines, essentially, I need to look forward into my mirror, so I will not be looking at the camera, and then kinda make the lines come together. So, this is kinda what it looks if I look straight into the camera, and this is what it looks if I open my eye. Very likely it's not gonna make sense yet. So after we've done like the straight line as I mentioned, and once you open it, it looks completely weird, what you do is just gonna... The point is that when you look straight into the camera, it looks like a straight line. That's the idea. And you just kinda work around it till you get the shape that you want. Then you fill it in. And this is kinda what we get. So the reason I'm not doing the eyeliner all the way to the corner of my eye is because I already have big eyes and I have already placed the white eyeshadow below. So the point of the makeup here is to make my eyes look bigger, like more anime girl eyes, if that makes sense, instead of the foxy eye. Then I'll do the other eye as well, and this is kinda the final result. Now, you might see that they're not exactly the same, but it doesn't matter. You know why? Because to make them exactly the same would take a lot of time. And as a man, I say that time is money. And therefore, it's not worth it, because it's gonna be covered by the eyelashes anyway, and the difference is gonna be so little that who cares? But one small thing that I like to do just to blend everything way nicer together is take a black eye pencil and apply some at the very corner of the eye. It's just a small touch, but it does some work. Now we're done with the eyes. I haven't put the lashes yet, I know it, I'll do it later. So now it's time for the base, powder, everything else. Usually what I do is something to fill my pores, because there are like small holes into the face which are called pores. And I apply, I don't even know what this is, but it says that it reduces pores, so I'll take it. I just put some on my face like this. And then I kinda make it to go into the holes, so my face looks as smooth as possible. Because that's also a really big part of makeup in general, that your face needs to look good. And what I mean by that, skincare, as less pores as possible, etc, etc. So that's kinda what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, we're done with that, so I'm gonna take a full coverage makeup, which is from L'Oréal Paris, French. Infallible 32 hours matte cover. So yeah, this thing covers everything, I think. I apply on the beauty blender and I just start heating my face. And also don't forget the neck, very important. Now, it might seem like I missed a few spots, such as under the eyes. The reasoning is pretty simple. Concealer, and apply it under the eyes and generally in this scheme on my face. The brighter it is, the bigger it looks. So we want the center of our face to look bigger than the sides. So this will give the illusion that we have a smaller face. So this is kinda what it looks like. Then we just blend it. Carefully so you don't mess up the shadows. And this is the result after it's blended. Then it's time for the powder, which again is a full coverage, just like a concealer, just like everything I use pretty much. We just start tapping once more. And this is what the face looks like just after the base. But we still have a long way to go. First of all, after that this part is done, I'm gonna take the brush I was using previously and try to kinda blend the shadows with the base. The contouring. This can completely transform your face. So I'm gonna start with a lighter shade, let's say of a dark color, which, as I said, this is what makes your face look smaller. Now, something that not many people do is that I contour my jawline. Pretty much, do you see these lines right here? This gives away a lot that I'm a guy, obviously. So we're gonna do this and we're gonna create fake shadows to make the whole jawline look much smaller. I know right now on camera it might not seem much, but on the final result, this thing right here shines. So, I don't know if you can see the result already. I think it's already pretty visible and we're not even halfway there. And then I contour the jawline, but I contour it in a way that it's not exactly on the line, but it's a little bit, like it's not exactly here, it's just a little bit above, so it creates the illusion that my head is even smaller than what it actually is. And after this is done, I just kind of try to blend everything a little bit better before I proceed to the next step. You still have just a little bit of this powder left on your brush, and this is how I'm gonna make the nose contouring. So I'm gonna slightly and very carefully move it downwards like this. Same from the other side. And we already have a pretty decent nose contour, but we're gonna fix it, don't worry. So I apply a little bit here as well. Now we have the base contouring done. Then what I do to finish the nose contouring is I take a small brush, I go back to the powder, and I apply a line in the middle. This is a horrible line, by the way, yes I know, but it's fine. Okay, now this might not seem like the best result ever, but it's good enough. You know, sometimes it works better than others, so yeah, it's up to the time. Like, I might be lucky, so sometimes it works better than others. We're gonna upgrade the contour even further. What I do is I take an even darker shade, which is this one right here, With this brush again, I don't really care. And I start doing it like much higher than the previous one, to make the difference feel like the upper it goes, the darker it is. That's kinda the idea here. And also I just apply a little bit here next to the hair. Same to the other side. And again a little bit of the dark one only on the corner here, where is the jawline. As for a really last step, I take one brush and I just kinda start to do everything like this upwards, so everything blends with my skin as well as possible. My English is kinda trolling me sometimes, and that's fine. This looks fairly well blended in. Now we're gonna do one of the most famous e-girl things, the rouge. I'll take and I'll start from up here, go and start working myself towards the nose. I know it's gonna be pretty intense, but trust me. Now again, we try to blend it as much as possible, even though it's a little bit overkill. I know that it is a little bit overkill, and on a day-to-day basis, this wouldn't really look normal, but as I said, this is not like an actual makeup tutorial. This is how I turn into a gamer girl, let's say. This is a very specific kind of tutorial. Then it's time for the highlighter. So I'll take it with my finger and start applying it on the edge of my face like this. Try to lift the face overall. Same from the other side. Also, I'll put a little bit on my nose and work my way down, especially on the edge. Yeah. Now it's time for the eyebrows, which I tend to not do much because I already have like big eyebrows and everything. I just do a little bit of fine touching. What does that mean? I fix a little bit the corner, which I try to make it look a little bit like fuller, the eyebrow, that's it. And that's it, I'm not touching anything else. I know that the part above the eyebrow is not the best, but since I don't really care about it and I also wear only wigs with bangs, I don't really have to touch it. Time is money. This is where I put the eyelashes. Here they are, but we have a completely different way of putting them. So I'll take the glue, and instead of putting glue on the eyelashes, I'm gonna apply the glue as if it's an eyeliner. Therefore that ensures that everything is gonna be where I want it to be, and yes. This is kinda what it looks like. I don't even know if you can see it. Okay, the glue is ready. I'm gonna apply the eyelash. I don't really know exactly how to explain what I do here, but I try to just match the glue and have the eyelash a little bit like tilted upwards. That's the best way to explain it, I think. Yeah, this is pretty much it. And then I'll do the exact same thing for the other eye as well. And this is with the eyelashes. Now you may notice that they're not exactly identical, but it doesn't really matter for me, to be honest. So now it's the mascara time. I just try to blend in my actual eyelashes with the fake ones. And then I'll do the bottom ones as well. Done. There is just one more step which I rarely use, but for the sake of the tutorial I'll show you it. I'll make fake freckles. So we'll take this one, the darker one as well, with like a pointy brush, apply a little bit, and then just start pressing randomly on different places of the face, where normal freckles would be. It has to be completely random, it doesn't really matter, but the point is that the closer it is to the center, the more intense they will be. So, now as you can see I have a lot of freckles on my face, but they don't look realistic enough. So I'm gonna do is take my finger and start very gently tapping them to make them like more faded, let's say. Now you probably can barely see them, but it's a small touch which does work and makes you a little bit cuter. And now for the final part, the lipstick. Again, the way I do this is a little bit weird compared to other people, but I'm weird overall also. First of all, I'm gonna take the lipstick and I'm gonna apply just a little bit so I can kinda get a guide for the pencil. You'll see what I mean. I'm applying just a little bit more. And perfect. You'll see why this helps me so much. So after the guide is done, I can kinda see where my real lips are. Because many people overline the lips. But again, for me, because I already have very big lips, I don't need to overline them. Otherwise it will look really weird and fake. Something like this, like an X. And then I'll start working towards the edges of my mouth, but I'm gonna be using the actual lipstick that I have on as a guide, so I don't overline them. See how it touched? So I know now that I'm doing well, because from there I need to touch it. And then simply, that's it. This side done. Now we're gonna do exactly the same thing from the other side. And the moment it touches there, I know that I'm not overlining and I'm exactly on the lip. This is kinda the upper lip. Now I'm gonna kinda fix the lines just a little bit. And now they're basically perfect for me, the upper lip. What I'm gonna do now for the lower lip is a very simple and similar technique. I'm gonna start from the edge of my lip and work towards the end of it, but again having the actual lipstick as a guide. We're almost there, but you can kinda see the shaping. As before, some slight fine tuning, and that's pretty much it for the shape, so now I'm just gonna fill it in. And as you can see, we have a really good lip shape. Then once again for the final touch, I can kinda fix the lines a little bit, now that I have basically everything. And just like an extra touch, sometimes, which I'll do in this tutorial as well for the sake of doing it, I apply gloss. And that's pretty much it for the makeup, but we're not done yet. But what will really sell the effect is the hair, and obviously the boobs, which I'm gonna show you how I do them as well. I have everything in front of me to make the boobs. First of all, we need an adhesive silicone bra, which basically is the one that stick onto you. The second thing is a bombshell Victoria's Secret bra, which basically adds 2 cups. Do you know how thick this is? Do you know how much padding there is in here? We also need like some extra paddings to push everything even further. This has filling as well. And finally what we need is the contouring and the brush we used before. As you can see, this is my actual male chest. Sorry to disappoint, I do not have implants. Oh yeah, one final ingredient. You actually need some meat on the chest. Or fat, you know, whatever works. So as you can see, this is the sticky bra. It's pretty sticky. And I'm gonna go all the way to the edge of my chest. I'm gonna pull it up and apply the bra underneath it. Hold on, let me find the exact spot. The first one is always kind of the harder one to get. So I'll put it right here. And then same thing from the other side. I pull my actual chest upwards and I stick the adhesive bra underneath it. So as you can see, it's already starting to be there. I didn't place it perfectly, but it will get the job done. Realistically, I could just spend a little more time and place it better, but you know. This is the part where I just wear the Victoria's Secret bra. So as you can see, it's already starting to shape, but we're not there yet. The silicone is almost fully covered. You can see it a little bit here, but that doesn't matter. The next thing I do is I place these. I'm gonna place them under my actual chest in the corner, so it pushes everything that's left there. As you can see, it's doing really a lot of work. And after I put the other one as well, Ta-da! But we're not already done. We want boobs and we want them big. So, as for the final step, I'm gonna grab the contouring I mentioned before. And I'm gonna apply it in the middle, so it looks that there is much more depth. And I will start shaping the boobs, basically doing this movement right here. Then all I really have to do is to blend it in, so I just keep doing this movement and it will eventually blend in enough. Another small detail that I like to do is that I like to apply a little bit of contour on the very edge of the chest, you know, not in the actual like inside but on the edge, so it looks more circular and has more depth. And that's pretty much it. We have the hankers. There are many people asking me also how do I hide the penis, so I'm not gonna do it obviously in front of the camera, but I'm gonna show you what I use and also how it's done with a picture. This is like a biology picture, so it should be good for YouTube. I grab muscle tape, and the reason for it to be muscle tape and not actual tape is because A, this is designed to actually go on skin, and B, it is very stretchy. As you can see, I can stretch it a lot. So therefore there is not gonna be much pain there either. What you do with it? This is the picture that shows what tacking is. If you still don't understand, just Google it, man. So now that I have covered also how I do the down part, it's time for the wig.
Now you might think this was the last step, but that is not true. Another change I made is the focal length of my camera. With simple words, the millimeters on the camera. What would be equivalent to this on a phone. Why? Because that also plays a huge part, as you see on the examples I'm showing on screen. Your facial features completely change depending on the distance and camera capturing them. But again, that's not all.
This is what happens when we also manipulate the angle. Now the camera is tilted about 30 degrees, but look how much smaller it makes my face look. But you think that's all? We can do even more manipulation. Now we make the light even softer and it's not even directly on our face, which makes on my face everything smoother. And not only that, but it also makes the lines sharper, giving the illusion that the cleavage is actually super realistic. And not only that, but also it makes the contouring and overall my jawline seem even smaller. By the way, in case you couldn't tell, this is like the most ideal scenario. In case you're wondering why the bangs cover such a big portion of my face, it's because the eyebrows are very masculine and they're like one of the biggest giveaways. Therefore I prefer to cover them, even if that means covering some of the makeup such as the eyeliner.